Dedra, I'm so excited to be sitting down and talking with you today. Again, my name is Samri with Tech Divercity. Um, when I got referred to you, the first thing I did was definitely look you up, search some of your background, and I was left impressed. My journey coming into the tech industry was almost accidental. I started as a nursing major. I thought I was going to be a nurse only because there is stability in that job, right? And I also didn't believe the tech industry was for me. A black woman, a black migrant, who didn't think can take advantage of this opportunity. So I do see a lot of that happening within our community. And the reason why I started Tech Divercity was let's create a platform where we can share our knowledge, our information, not only just share our knowledge and information, but also hopefully inspire, right, other people within our community to take advantage of the tech industry. We are being left behind, and it's not uh, hard to notice. I see it at work, I see it in a lot of different pockets, and talking to women such as yourself who have had over 16 years experience in the IT sector, your wealth of knowledge is just very inspiring. You have knowledge ranging from software development, requirement and risk management, data visualization, analytics, federal information security management or FISMA, compliance and monitoring, information security, strategic planning, reporting, training, development. This is not even all of your accomplishments. Additional accomplishments to that really made me really want to talk to you was outside of your 9 to 5. You're a founder of Mentorship Maverick, nonprofit board member, and director of mentorships at Black Girls in Cyber, BGIC. That is already inspiring enough for me to say I need to talk to Deidra because what she's doing for our community is exactly what Tech Divercity aspires to do. So, before all of this, before all of your accomplishments, before all of the work that you're doing to uplift others, who is Deidra? Talk to us about who Deidra is before all of this.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me today. It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So I am originally from North Carolina, a really small town. A lot of people have never heard of it, but it's a really small town. I actually grew up on a farm. So I'm a country girl at heart. I'm really country. And I've always enjoyed IT. Like when I was smaller, I would take computers apart and trying to figure it out. I was always that person that's going to solve that problem or figure out why is it like that. So I've always enjoyed IT. And so when I graduated, when I was in high school, I grew up in. I mean, I went to predominantly white high schools, and so being in a class full of predominantly white students, it was an eye opener, and I was just like, I gotta figure out a way to change this. And so I knew immediately when I entered into high school, I was going to attend an HBCU, and I attended Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. And when I went there, I totally thrived. I felt a sense of belonging, a sense of community. It was just an amazing experience there. And then being from my background, being that I loved IT and got into IT and at Winston-Salem State University, I was able to expand my career from there. So graduating from Winston-Salem State University, I knew I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make a difference. And so I knew I wanted to work for the federal government. And so I started to apply after I got closer to my graduation date, started to apply, and then I entered into the federal government right after graduation. And I've been there ever since. Yes, that's my background on IT. And so I've always enjoyed it. And I just like kind of jumped in straight from college. And from there, it just took off.
That's awesome. And why the IT industry? I think there was a line that I read which said something along the lines you were very inspired by how a computer can process information so fast. And I think your fascination to join into the IT industry came really early. Talk to me about that. Why the IT industry? Why an historically black college?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I discovered my passion for technology at a very young age. And once I discovered that and realized, hey, I can do more in IT, I started to get more interested. And then like attending that predominantly white high school, I wanted to see more of me. I wanted to see representation. And so I was like, why not go to an HBCU where I'm going to see more Black women thriving and trying to, get the best out of life. And so that's what made me attend Winston-Salem State University. And from there, I started to see people that looked like me in the IT field. My major was management information systems. From there, started to see people that looked like me, and it just felt like home. I thrived at the university.
Management information system is exactly what I also graduated in my undergrad. That seemed something that I could possibly take advantage of when it comes to, I had a lot of interest in managerial positions, but I also wanted to be in the IT sector. So information systems management kind of made the perfect sense. What did you think you were going to end up doing after your undergrad?
So to go back, I did major in computer science first, but because I do not like math, I do not like math. I was like, okay, what else can I do to stay in IT, but then get the business side? And that's what made me major in management information systems. So I was computer science first, but yes, I transferred it over.
Okay. Perfect. And once you were done with college with your information systems management degree, how hard was it to merge into the professional world? What else did you have to do after that? Because in reality, we might have a diploma and we can wave it in the employer's face all we want, but at the end of the day, they do look into specific set of skills in order to say, hey, can you do this? And that's what they're interested in. Having a 4-year degree doesn't necessarily tell them what specific work we can do or specific set of skills that we can do, right? So what are the steps that you took after college to be able to merge into the IT industry?
So I can say while I was in college, I connected with my professors. I feel that bond. Like we had a whole relationship with all of my IT professors. I kept the bond, and if anything came up, any internships that came available, they were there. Like, Deidra, do you want to do this? And without pay, with pay, it doesn't even matter. I was trying to just get the experience, and so my professors were a big part of my college experience. And then from there, you have to network. The power of networking is amazing. Being able to connect with people outside of work, in work as well, but just being able to build your skills through networking, making connections, and making yourself feel belonging with people is a lifesaver. Like, and then just staying connected. You can connect with someone, but you also have to stay connected. And so that helped me outside of my when I graduated. The people that I stayed connected with, who got me in the door for my federal job. Actually, somebody reached out to me and was like, Deidra, you should apply for this. And I applied for.
So, continuing on your um, journey in undergrad, being able to create relationships, network, people are your biggest means of information. And this is why this platform, the hope of this platform is to give that information, to create a safe space where we can share knowledge. How do you find people that are within your interests? What are the steps that you take to be able to build that kind of network?
So I think you have to share what you're learning. I know when I was, getting into the cyber field, you share what you're learning, share what you're building. If you're in Try Hack Me, share all of that online. Share your resources. I think sharing is important, and that helps you to network as well. So definitely, yeah, share what you're learning, and then just building that community. Join groups. That's another
Mhm.
way that increases your networking power as well.
That's awesome. And like I mentioned earlier, you are very passionate about volunteering and giving back. How did that all come about? And talk to us about some of the work that you're currently doing to uplift Black women who are in the IT and STEM field.
Yes, I think volunteer and mentorship is pretty much my middle name. I just love it. Just makes me it brings me excitement to me when I know that I've made a difference in someone's life. So I am the director of mentorships for Black Girls in Cyber, and this is where Black Girls in Cyber is an organization where we are increasing industry awareness and trying to get more Black women into cybersecurity and privacy fields. And so we have an annual cohort. That we do every year, where we bring in 8 to 10 women into the cohort, and we teach them how to build their cybersecurity career. We also, at the end, provide vouchers for the CompTIA Security Plus, and we just introduced our privacy cohort on last year, which those cohort fellows received these CIPT exam vouchers. And so it pretty much excites me when I'm talking to the individuals and they tell me their interests at first and why they want to get into cyber. And a lot of them are transitioning from, like you, nursing fields, nothing IT related, and they're just trying to get into cyber. And it just excites me when they start to learn about cyber and dig deep inside into the CompTIA Security Plus and looking at all of the learning objectives and they're realizing that I'm actually catching this on, I'm getting this and I like it. And then at the end, when they start to take the exam and then they pass. So it's like an amazing experience just to see them like just start from not knowing anything, IT, cyber, and then at the end being able to pass the CompTIA Security Plus brings joy to me. And then finding jobs. A lot of our cohort fellows have received jobs from those opportunities. And so a lot of that it just pretty much excites me. And I'm always mentoring, always volunteering, anything IT cyber related. It's just a part of who I am. And
That's awesome, Deidra. I can't help but get inspired by the work that you're doing. Again, the whole idea of this platform is to do exactly what you're doing, to be able to bring in more people into the IT sector in general, whether it's in cyber, it might be UX, UI, software development. There is a lot of opportunities within the IT industry that so many of us didn't even realize exist. If someone was going to come into the tech industry and have no idea what they need to do or how to get started, what advice do you have for them? Or what specific fields within the IT industry do you think are booming right now that other people can take advantage of?
Well, we all know that AI is booming everywhere. Definitely, I would say just be true to yourself. Do your research before you reach out to anyone. Make sure you do your research and know kind of like an interest of what you want to do in the cyber field, or IT field. Be very transparent. If somebody asks you a question and you do not know, just be upfront and just say, I do not know the answer. How can you help me find this answer? Be curious, being able to just always wanting to learn. That's one thing that has helped me in my career. I'm always like, what's the next? What's next? What's next? I'm learning this, learning that. I'm not really cert happy, but I learn through trying to achieve certs. So being curious, being that continuous learner will take you a long way. And then just take an initiative. Like, I know a lot of time you're like, I don't know what to do, but just start. If you just start and take the initiative, everything else will fall into place.
That's awesome. Just start. And I can't repeat this enough. And I do say it in all of my interviews. It's the very first step, or actually the decision to go for something, is what's going to take you halfway. Where by nature, we contemplate a lot, right? It's hard for us to make a decision. There is so much information out there. And it's not necessarily the lack of information that is keeping us from approaching something. It's actually because there is so much information. If someone was going to look into, do some research before they come into the IT sector in terms of what they can study or how they can get into the field in general, how can we tune out some of these massive information that might not be helpful to us and kind of narrow down and really focus on what might be helpful? Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I agree with the information overload. I have to like shut it down. Like, what is all of this? But yeah, I agree. It's so much information out there, and so many people that are trying to get paid and get everything costs money. So I agree with the information overload. I always look at stuff that comes from the federal mandate. Like, so I look at NIST. CyberSeek is one of the NIST sites that I look at. I look at a lot of their just federal mandate links is the ones that I really refer to. But if you're trying to figure out what role you're trying to get at, cyberseek.org is definitely a great site where you can find what cyber career may interest you. But yeah, it's a lot out there. So just be mindful of what you're reviewing and looking at, because like you said, it's information overload. And I just stick to, let me see what's policy mandate, and that's what I stick to.
So help us understand what your day to day looks like in your current field. Again, you have a lot of knowledge on a lot of different pockets within the IT sector. Tell us what your day to day looks like. What are some of the work that you do? And then we'll dive into more on your mentorship work that you're also doing.
Okay, so I am a senior IT security specialist with the Department of Treasury. And so I work in the workforce development piece of cybersecurity. And so I create print training programs for our cyber hires that come into the IRS, making sure that they're getting acclimated and finding the niche in cyber that they enjoy doing. I also look at the work roles, looking at the skill sets, and making sure that they're aligning to what roles we have in cybersecurity. So that's the educational piece. Back before I started doing this, I was a little bit more technical, where I was over an entire GSS, like Wintel servers, and a little bit more. But now that I'm more on the workforce development side in cyber, I'm looking at more trainings, looking at how we can better our workforce in cybersecurity, and also bring diversity in to the agency as well.
Hmm. Awesome. Now, this is where we're going to ask some of the difficult questions. You do mention diversity within the federal space or just in other companies in general. I'm currently supporting the federal government as well as a user experience designer. Um, I want to hear about how we can help these different giant industries bring in more of our community. What are some of the work that you're currently doing to diversify the federal industry?
Yeah, and so I created so a part of my job, I created this training program. It's called the Shield program, and this is where we bring in new hires. Diversity is a factor. We bring in the new hires, and they're getting acclimated to the cyberspace. And so there's four requirements that they have to accomplish. Once they come into the space, they have to accomplish those four. One of them are one of them is technical challenges, where they have to get into a group, and then they all work together to come out with a solution. It's a cyber solution. It could be hack the box. We did an analysis one, played around with some data in cyber. So we come up with different ideas. That's one. They have to complete business courses, and we base those off of the skill gaps that we have in our agency. And then the next one is to detail assignments, where if you came in as a pen tester and you wanted to experience like the acquisition or a non-technical role, you're able to do a detail assignment. And then the last one is knowledge transfer events, where we have a subject matter expert come in for like an hour and a half, and they do a demo and they just talk about their subject matter. And so if we once we have once they have completed those four requirements, then they're able to graduate. And we're also finding out that once they have done all of these requirements, they're realizing that, oh, cyber is really where I want to be. They're finding their niche in
Mhm.
cybersecurity, and they're finding out, wow, I didn't know this exists. And they're getting acclimated to what we do at my agency in cybersecurity. And so that's one way that we're bringing in diversity. Also, I just think that we have to start when the federal government, we have to start like at USA Jobs. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys have ever applied for a federal government job, but USA Jobs is insane. And I think that we have to start there. And then once we look at that and realize how we can simplify this process, we can definitely bring in more diverse people into the federal government as well. But yes, we definitely have to start there, and then just having programs that we have that bring in diversity, bringing it in, and just bringing more people into those roles to learn more about cyber as well.
Thank you for sharing that, Dedra. You did say mentorship might as well be or volunteering your middle name. Again, it's so inspiring the amount of work that you're doing. It takes a lot for us to just do a 9 to 5 job. And outside of that, to be able to find a mission or a purpose to kind of help others, I think it's a feeling that you cannot put money on it. There's no price for being able to help another person achieve their goals. How did you come to get involved in the current work that you're doing? Was this because of you happen to be in the federal space, or was this by design?
You talking about for Black girls in cyber, or the
Yes.
work that I just talked about?
Hmm. The work that you just talked about.
Oh yeah, no. So this is actually the work that I just talked about is inside of the federal government. And so what's
Okay.
what's funny is when I came into cyber, I was actually doing PKI. That was the type of work that I was doing before. And then my manager came to me and he was like, "I'm going to start a new workforce development." It came from our CISO. "I want to start a workforce development program within our cybersecurity organization, and I want you to lead it." And I'm like, "What? Me?"
That's awesome.
I said, "Why?" I'm like, "Why are you picking me?" But we started to work together, and it took a lot of work. Like we had to look at a lot of the historical data and just figuring out how to put the pieces together. And I think that's one thing that one of my skill sets is data analytics and data analysis. Like that, I love data, and so that was one of the pieces where he was like, "I need you. I want you on this team. I want you to do this. I want you to do that." And once we started to put the pieces together and the data all in sync, it was like it was easy to do. And so he just came to me randomly and was like, "I want you to lead this." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay." And yeah, we
That's
work together
awesome.
and it's been an amazing program. It's 2 years old now, but
Mhm.
everyone loves the program and they're just getting acclimated to the agency and just finding their niche in cybersecurity. And so it pretty much eases my heart when I say, "Oh wow, it's still existing. It didn't just leave. It didn't just leave. So it's still here, and I'm still excited about the program. We have made a lot of enhancements to it, but
Mhm.
it's still here at my agency, and so I'm proud of it. And I'm just amazing at what it's doing in people's lives that come into cybersecurity.
Awesome. That sounds like it's almost your baby that you're nurturing, and it is doing a lot of good work. If someone was going to listen to this recording or to this interview, and let's say they decide, hey, I'm interested, how would I be able to take advantage of this program that Deidra is running?
Yep. So I guess I hate to tell you, but it's only within my agency, the Department of Treasury. Right now, we have not expanded it out, but we're looking to scale this program because a lot of other agencies has been asking us about how do you create this program. And so right now, unfortunately, it's just within my agency where you can be a part of that program.
So we're going to start talking about this book, which I have been kind of glued to, Securing Our Future. This is amazing. And I'm not even trying to promote the book by any means, but if anyone wants to pick up and hear about, a collective of Black women in cyber, this would be it. How did this book came to be? What started this?
So the founder of Black Girls in Cyber, she comes up with all of these crazy ideas and we all just follow. So she's like, "I want to do a book." And we're like, "What do you want to do a book about?" I can all of my network, the people that I've connected with over the years, we can all talk about our experience. And we're all like, "Okay." And she handpicked the women that she wanted to be in the book. And I was so shocked that she picked me because I didn't tell you guys this, but I'm still new. I consider myself still new to cyber. I've only been in cyber 5 years. And so I'm still new, but I've done a lot. And so when she asked me, I was like, "Well, what am I going to talk about?" So it stung on me, and I'm like, "I don't know what to talk about in the book, but if you came to me and asked me, I have to do it because she's amazing." So she came to us and she handpicked everybody in this book if you read this book, you will see that everybody is handpicked. But these women are amazing. We are all telling our stories on how we have overcame um lots of challenges, overcame a lot of challenges in his book
Yeah.
to get into cyber, to try to make the diversity work into cyber. It's some powerhouse women in here. I'm telling you, if you don't have it, please get it. But we talk about, what we're working on currently, what has been a challenge, what we have to pivot. A lot of us had to pivot, especially when COVID times hit. We had to pivot
Mhm.
and go another direction. And so we talk about pivoting. We talk about um, the history of how we grew up. So it's an amazing book, and I'm just so proud that Talia Parker asked me to be in it because it's an amazing book.
Awesome. I agree. It's definitely an amazing book, especially if you are someone who's trying to come into the IT industry. This is a journey of over 16 Black women in the IT space. So it kind of gives you a highlight of who went through what or what are some of the steps that they took in order to get here. So very inspiring, also very transparent. But at the same time, what was the goal of this book? I want to hear more about what was the end goal of creating Securing Our Future.
The goal is for Black women to see that you belong in this space. You truly belong in this space. People may tell you you don't belong in cyber, go to nursing or another field. You truly belong in cybersecurity, and you can make a way through the networking piece. But yes, you can make a way. And so in the book, we give you tips on how to get connected, how to stay connected, and also just how to get into cyber. Yes, it will be hard, but you definitely belong. The key thing is you belong in this space. Don't listen to the outsiders or whoever's telling you that you do not belong in cybersecurity. You truly belong in this space, and you will thrive in this space as well.
That's awesome. I love to hear it. I tell this to a lot of people that I interview. I personally didn't think the IT industry was for me. And whether that was a learned information or whether that was a lack of confidence, there's definitely a lot of things that played into believing I couldn't fit in the IT sector. Um, we now have information more than ever. We can go in and see what a day in a life of an IT security looks like. We can go in and see what a day within a UX UI designer looks like. We can find information and we can understand what our strongest asset is that we bring in when we decide to come into the IT sector. I want to hear as to why we're still being left behind, and not for reasons that are outside of our control. And I'm talking about even with the information that we do have, even if it was within our control, why are we still not taking advantage?
And that is a very good question. And what I can say is a lot of times when you look at women in general, they just think that we don't have the skill sets. We don't know what we're doing. And a lot of times we just have to prove ourselves, which makes it really hard for us because we already have the confidence. We already know that we can do this. But the fact that we have to prove ourselves to be in a field that we already know is really hard to conquer. And so yeah, that's all I can have. But if we continue to collaborate and build um, networks, and the group that you have here, diversity, yeah, all of that will definitely help women and women of color to just succeed in these types of fields. So I just say more collaboration, prove what you know, um, and I know I hate the fact that I have to say that because I hate that we have to prove what we know when we already know it. But more collaboration and just proving that you have what it takes.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think we do have the set of skills. We can learn the set of skills. This is what I always mentioned. You're not lacking set of skills. These are things that you can actually learn. But I also feel like we kind of tend to pull back a little bit because of um, lack of confidence, right? We're not confident enough, like you said, to apply what we know and come in strong and say, I can do this. How can we bring that type of encouragement to others? What would you say to someone who's feeling like, I can learn it, but I don't know if I can do it type of mindset? How can we shift that?
Yeah, first I would say get a mentor. A lot of times the lack of confidence is, I can't do this. I've tried, but once you have a mentor and you're able to um, talk with that mentor, they're going to help you get from good to great. You're going to be talking to them and they're going to be telling you stuff that you know you got the potential, but you need somebody to bring it out of you. And so having a mentor to ask you those challenging questions and allowing you to be open minded just opens up a whole nother window of how you see yourself. So I would say definitely get a mentor just to unlock the potential that you already have inside of you, because it's going to thrive even more.
I love that. So if someone was looking to find a mentor that can help them guide or get them to where they're trying to go, do you have any information on some mentorship programs that others can join, or any tips on how to find a mentor that actually fits with someone's interests?
Yeah. So definitely Black Girls in Cyber. There's Black Girls Hack that you can look at as well. Empower Her is another group that has mentorship, but a lot of organizations out here have several mentorships that are going on right now. But I also tell people, if you see a job that you're interested in, or you see somebody on LinkedIn, you say, "Oh, I wonder what their day in the life looks like," or "I just want to talk to them and ask them a couple questions." Just reach out to them and go into their inbox and say, "Hi, my name is Deidra. I would like to know more about what you do, your day to day life. Talk about certifications, whatever you want to say, just ask that person. And if they say no, move on to the next person. And then once you talk with that person, make sure you have your questions lined up, what you want to ask, and have an agenda, but also just restarting and then just reaching out to that person to see what it looks like in a day of their life. That's going to help you. And then you're also building your network.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. People are where we should be searching information and getting information out of. Um, if someone is not interested in going to college, and we're talking about today in 2024, but they want to get into the IT industry, do you have any tips for them? Do we still go by the culture of you have to have a college degree in order to be able to get into the IT industry? Um, I go back to telling this story again because I went from nursing major, did a 360, and got into information systems management. That switch by itself cost me a lot of money. And we're not even mentioning boot camps and little trainings that I have to do in order to specialize within the user experience design. Um, Looking back, all of those loans that I had to pay back, Dedra, it was not easy, right?
Right.
So
Right.
if someone is not interested in going to the traditional route of a 4-year degree or even going for their master's, what advice do you have for them? And do you think that is the right approach?
Yeah. So, like you just said, you do not need a degree to be into cyber. So I would definitely say look into internships, look into mentorship programs that offer training that's going to get you a voucher for a certification. And once you get that certification, then you start to look for your experience. Try to find a job that's going to gain you experience. And if the job is not paid for, sometimes it may be okay to take it just to get that
Yeah.
experience. And then I said reaching out to people trying to get experience that way as well. But the main thing is just getting your experience and then finding those boot camps and mentorship programs to help you with the certifications. But you definitely do not need a bachelor's, master's degree. My nephew just told me he's taking cybersecurity classes in ninth grade. So it's like,
Yep.
hey, they're already offering the cybersecurity courses, and that by the time you graduate, your job should be right there. But yeah, it's all about just getting the experience. So I say take unpaid and paid internships
Mhm.
anytime.
And I do believe that a lot of companies are now shift their mindset into hiring people that may not have a bachelor's degree. What they do look, however, is um, of internship experiences that are equivalent to maybe a few years. So they try to replace having a bachelor's with an experience.
Hmm.
And I definitely want to encourage people and reiterate what you just said. Go for internships that don't even pay, right? The experience in the end is going to set you a lot, it's going to set you up. So, with that being said, where do you see the cybersecurity industry in the next 5 to 10 years? What is the job market going to look like? A lot of people are hesitating to come into the IT industry because there's a lot of layoffs. The IT industry is not as stable, but that's just the nature of the IT industry. It's still very rewarding. Even if you do lose a job, you gain a job. So there's always that balancing that you have to play into it. Where do you see cybersecurity in the next 5 to 10 years?
I see well, look, I think it should be a business priority. a lot of people, once you get hacked, you're just like, oh, how do I add cybersecurity into what I'm doing? Cybersecurity is going to be like a household bill. So like you got your electrical bill, it's going to be, oh, where's my cyber bill? Because
I love that.
we're all going to need cybersecurity
Security.
in
Yeah.
everything. So I want to see it as a business, um, like a household bill where we're going to be paying to have cyber, and we need it. So it's not going to just be like something we need or we just add on. I think it definitely needs to just be a part of what you're already doing.
Mhm.
Definitely that's what's going to happen with cyber in the future. That should be here now, but a lot of times that does not happen when a bank or anything gets hacked. They're like, okay, so what do I do now? Why is this not being added? But yeah, eventually I think it's going to be like a bill. Like it's just going to be a necessity that we need, and it's not
Right.
going to be something that we pull from the side just because an incident happened.
Right, right. Identity theft with the digital era comes a lot of risks. All of our information is out there. There is no privacy. You do have to protect yourself, not just as a company, but as an individual also. So I do see that cyber playing an important role with the tech industry in general, or with being able to use any type of information technology. But for someone who is thinking, hey, the IT industry is dead, there is nothing for me to do, or I shouldn't go for it because there's a lot of layoffs, what advice do you have for them?
IT will never die. We're gonna always need IT. Cyber is gonna always be around. It's not going anywhere. And technology changes by the day, second, minute. And so if you could be that continuous learner and keep learning and staying up to date, you're pretty much okay. But IT is not going anywhere. It's gonna be around forever. But you have to be that continuous learner and keep learning.
Yeah. And the IT industry in general, even for some of us who have been in it for quite some time, we're always having to learn new tools, new things that come out. It just never ends. What you're using today may not be something that you're going to use tomorrow. So there's always that role that you have to play in terms of being willing to learn, being willing to grow, and not say, okay, I know and I'm done. It's not going to work in the IT sector or in the IT industry. um,
And I,
some
al-
people might.
I would also
I'm
say, and
sorry. Go ahead.
the newer tools that we're using, just make sure you're using them smarter, because a lot of the tools will make you lazy. But just make sure that we're using those tools smarter for what we're doing in our roles.
Awesome. I'm going to read a quote from your book, Securing Our Future, which I thought is very fitting to Take Diversity. Uh, you mentioned during a period when information, computer science, and technology careers lacked diversity, my personal mission was motivated by a profound yearning for connection and acceptance. Due to the absence of individuals who shared my identity, navigating through this career track became a challenge. Um, Walk me through some of the challenge that you faced as a Black woman coming into the IT industry, and if there is someone who is within our community that is trying to go to a college or take steps into coming into the tech industry, what advice do you have for that little girl who might be watching this video?
Yeah, definitely. Getting into the IT field was a little rough for me. Being that I attended the HBCU, then I start my federal government job, and I'm like, well, am I back in my high school years? I'm still like the only Black woman in this space, and so it was a hard challenge for me. And like I mentioned earlier, proving to myself, and proving to others that I can do the job and I'm the perfect fit. It's hard, but we have to do it. Don't know why, look, but we have to prove ourselves in order to get into the next level. And so I've been through a lot in my federal career, good and bad, but just being able to overcome that adversity, and just being able to thrive forward has been one of the things that keeps me moving and keeps pushing for diversity in IT and cyber careers.
And
And
if
for the
someone
little
is,
girl that's
mhm.
trying to, yep, for the little girl that's
Yep, go
trying to
ahead.
get into the cyberspace, as I mentioned before, you belong here. Make sure you network. Make sure you study. Be that continuous learner. Never stop learning. And also just know that whatever you put your mind to, you're going to do it. And whatever, you find a mentor, but know that you belong here, you belong in this space, and just give it 110%. And you will face challenges. Yes, you will. But just know that at the end, you are where you belong.
And there was another quote that I thought was very important from your part of the book. You say embracing diversity goes beyond mere acceptance. It entails the richness of diverse perspectives that emerge from individuals' distinct life experiences. It grants us an invaluable chance to learn from those who bring different perspectives shaped by unique backgrounds. I love that. I am an Ethiopian immigrant. I think I have a specific type of skill sets, even a skill set that stems from the culture, the backgrounds, the different environments that we all uh, come from, right? So I definitely loved this quote. And if someone is not sure if they fit in the IT industry, um, we need to pull them in not only because they can do it, but also because of the different perspectives and backgrounds they bring with them. That is like a playing field for learning, right? It's a playing field for gathering information from all of these different people. What are your thoughts?
Exactly. Thank you for that quote. And what's funny is when I went to college, it truly opened up my eyes to diversity. At the HBCU, it's not just black students; it's white students there as well. The majority is black, but it opened up my eyes to see that diversity is not just about color. It really is about hearing what somebody else went through in their background. Like you just said, you're from Ethiopia, and your background is different than mine. And so when I went to college and I started to hear the different trials, tribulations that another student went through to get to where they are, that's what I consider diverse. Like, they're bringing their perspective from how they grew up, from what they have learned, what they have overcame, into where they are today. And so that quote really has been with me. And I can truly say when I went to college, I learned about diversity there. And I just really, because you really think diversity is just about color. No,
Yep,
it's a
it's
whole
not.
ton of it's about your background, your experiences, what you have
Hmm.
encountered that you bring to where you are today. And so I think the industry just doesn't look at that. They just, oh, okay, if you're going to be an IT or cyber, you're just going to be a white male. And no, that's not the case. If you listen and hear the different backgrounds, the different experiences, you'll realize that, wow, they bring a lot to the table of what we need here in cyber. Not just from that male white perspective, but they bring a lot. So I think the industry just has to open up their ears and listen to what the different cultures, the different backgrounds, what we're all saying in cybersecurity, and what we can bring to cybersecurity as well. So I think that's the main thing, just opening up and just listening and just kind of like, taking diversity from another standpoint, not just color.
Yeah, yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more. When we say diversity, we're not just talking about color. We're not talking about specific group of people. We are trying to kind of knock on the doors of those who are not really taking advantage and taking the step to get into this IT industry. Doesn't matter what their background is, doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. As long as you're not taking advantage of what the IT industry has to offer, wake up, because technology is not only just going to take over, it has already taken over, it's going to continue to take over. And for those people who think coming into the IT industry is just so difficult, I don't know if I can do it. There's a lot of doubts that happen. I went through it myself. I used to say, I will not understand what the IT industry is. I won't be able to do it. This was a battle that I had to fight within myself,
Mhm.
against myself. And there are a lot of people that do that, which is far from the truth. The IT industry, just like any other profession, you can learn. You need to narrow down as to what you want to study, go for it, acquire the skill sets, work on building your community, your mentorship, your skill sets, get the go to a boot camp and get the information that you need. And just like any other job, it is doable. But that fear is among many. How can we step out of that?
And I'm going to bring up the book. In my book, my title is IT Like Me. So in the
Yep.
book, I do talk about cyber career success, and I talk about the three C's. And I think your question just hit on the three C's that you need to have success in any career, not just cyber. Definitely is community. You need community. You cannot do anything alone. So you need community. Collaboration. You have to collaborate. You cannot be by yourself in a corner. No, you have to collaborate with others, join groups, and then contribution. What are you contributing? You can't just be giving, getting. You have to contribute something as well. So definitely the three C's of cyber career success in the book. And then I'll break them down a little bit more, but those are definitely the ways that can help you.
Yep. That's awesome. I love that. And then there might be a group of people who come from different backgrounds. Let's say they went to nursing school like I did. They have put so much effort and money towards something, but they realize really late that this is not for them. Right. And then they're like, let me look into the IT industry. But they might be feeling like it's too late. What advice do you have for those people who want to shift completely from one career to another? This is what I love about the IT industry is you can be in it for a while, put it away, and come back in. It's Samuel mentioned when I interviewed him that the IT industry is like a river. It's constantly flowing, and you can jump in at different points in and out. I love how he put that together. What do you think, or what words do you have for someone who says, it's too late for me? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's never too late. What's funny, we had a one of the cohort fellows in the Black Girls in Cyber mentorship program. She was 50 and she got her CompTIA Security Plus. It's never too late. You can pivot at any time. It's gonna take work though, but you
Mm.
can pivot at any time. And I agree with the IT. You can jump in, jump out. Just remember that it's never too late, and you can pivot. You just gotta find the right people and find the right destination to pivot to.
That's awesome. I love that. I don't think it's ever too late. You can come from any background, learn the skill sets, and jump into this huge opportunity. Um, but also, again, if someone wants to go to a specific boot camp, get the skills that they need to, let's say, for example, become a user experience designer. Um, Financial burden is something that plays a huge role in terms of going for an opportunity. Um, what are your experiences in boot camps or programs that do offer skill sets without having to burden someone financially? How can people take advantage of free mentorships, free programs to acquire the skill sets if they cannot afford to join a $15,000 boot camp? What are your thoughts?
Self-studying. Like right now I'm studying for the CISSP and I'm doing a self-studying. I bought my books and I'm self-studying. But the boot camps are super expensive. So if you find one, hopefully somebody else can pay for it. But they're super expensive. And I would also just advise stick with what's whatever's free. Go with that first. Make that your first option because there's many free resources out here as well as scholarships that you can apply for to get vouchers, to get certifications, to get trainings. Make sure you are tapping into the free stuff first before you tap into the expensive boot camps, and make sure you're reading reviews and make sure they are legit as well. But I would definitely say just tap into the free stuff first. And then if that doesn't work, join communities. And that's the way that you hear about other trainings and other scholarships that are happening.
Yeah, thank you for that. Definitely. I think taking the route to teach yourself self-learning, it can be a little difficult because you have to make sure you manage your time. You have to stay inspired. You're not going to have the kind of guidance that you need. So I salute you for that because not everybody can go through that self-study route, right? You have to be very disciplined to accomplish what you're looking for. Um, again, you're very passionate about volunteering, mentorship, dedicating your time to bring in other people, to mentor young women who want to come into the IT industry. If someone was going to reach out to you and say, hey, Deidra, I want to hear more about this, how can they reach you? And how open are you to be able to share more knowledge or just answer a few questions outside of this interview?
Yes, you can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can follow me there. Send me a message. I pretty much respond to all my messages there. But I am pretty much open. Like I said, mentorship, volunteering is my middle name. And so if I can help you in any way, and if I don't know the answer, I can definitely direct you to somebody else.
Thank you so much. Deirdre, we're going to end the interview here. I can't thank you enough for your time. I will leave your LinkedIn information for those who want to follow you or might have a few or specific questions towards cyber. Thank you so much for sitting with Tech Diversity, and I hope to hear from you again.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. And be sure to follow and leave me a comment in my mailbox. I'll be there to answer any questions. And remember, the importance of mentorship and networking. They're super powerful.